Hi everybody, my name is Karim Vega.
I'm Cody.
And I'm David Castro, and we're Group 57.
Our ethics in print assignment we chose was subscription service accused of fraud. The basic facts for this case was there was a subscription service scam that was nationwide. It targeted mostly elderly people, and what it did was it inflated the price of subscriptions to magazines such as the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Cars Weekly, and those involved lost around $120,000 due to fake subscriptions. The dates to this case dated back to 2010. So I'm going to talk about the stakeholders and who was involved in this case. The target was the subscription holders, which was mostly elderly people. Now the information was allegedly bought from the publishing companies, and the subscription holders' information was used against them to inflate the prices of the subscriptions. One of the main scamming companies was called Orbital Publishing Group, and they were out of Oregon. And the two people involved in that group were Laura Lover and Leah Pugsley. There's a video above that will explain their involvement in this case. Alright, so the gray box. The gray box is a tool used by business managers, group leaders, team leaders to give you a bigger perspective when confronted with a decision or a problem that needs a solution. So the gray box is divided into four separate perspectives. The first one is called economic and financial frame. This measures what is best for the revenue and profit of your company or your team. This is more on an economic scale and has to do with money or losing money. The legal political frame provides a foundation of what is established already by law. So this could be rules, laws by the government, by your companies has said, or other things like that. The ethical and moral frame measures what is valuable to you personally and what your values are and what your vices are. This will help you to get a better perspective of how and what your decision should be, your solution should be. The leadership and management frame is what is best for your company or your group or team. Now this is from a leader's or a manager's standpoint. So basically the leadership management frame is to guide your company, guide your group into the best solution to a decision or a problem that you're faced with. So the issues related to finance and economics in this article was that the companies that scammed the elderly people inflated the price of the subscriptions, causing them to lose nearly $120,000 in real subscriptions. So what the publishing companies did to compensate that was give out free subscriptions to those affected. For example, the Journal gave $2.6 million in magazine subscriptions and to those affected, which was about 7,000 people.
Okay, so here are the morals and ethics behind our case. These third-party companies are doing total wrong because their businesses work with publication industries. These companies are selling subscriptions of other publication articles, and which is morally wrong because the way they're going about it. By Webster Dictionary, morals is defined as a person's standards of behavior concerning what is and what is not acceptable for them to do. And that is just always important to remember because we need to understand what actually morals and ethics are. And here we see the Orbital Publishing Group is going wrong by their morals and what the morals are just in the publication industry in general. Also, presenting falsified advertisement is not only morally and ethically wrong, it is also against the law, and that is why the Orbital Publishing Group is that's why they're being accused of what they're being accused. In this type of industry, all these publications make their money off of their subscriptions. And when the third-party companies are selling for higher prices, it goes against any logic a person has in that industry. So there we can just see it is morally wrong and ethically wrong, because no one who works in the publication industry thinks it would be okay to sell another person's work and sell it for higher prices. Also, in the journalism industry, the standard is not to steal my work, not to copy my work, and don't sell my work for your own gains. And that's what the Orbital group is being accused of, and that just goes against ethics in general. And although the third party acknowledges they are selling these subscriptions, they're doing it in a very unmannerly manner by selling them for extremely high prices. Okay, so now here's the legal and political frame of our case. The issues related to the legal frame includes multiple lawsuits not only against the third parties who are selling the subscriptions, but also the major publications themselves, such as Wall Street Journal and New York Times. The public seems that they have some involvement because they think they have acknowledgement of the subscribers of their company, and they sold them to the third party, and that's why the public believes that the actual publications themselves have involvement, and that's why some companies are being held to lawsuit as well. The article quotes on saying, in the state of New York, it is illegal to use deceptive advertising to trick customers. And this is very important because this is exactly what the Orbital Publishing Group is doing. So that is something that's going to be held against them majorly. And also, the majority of the public are suing for this very reason, in which they felt they were presented falsified information. So now the culture of this organization and its leadership. The issues related to the culture of the organization includes that Laura Lovrian and Lydia Pungsley, the two executives of the company, created this scheme for the whole company to not only sell subscriptions for inflated and outrageous prices, but also to lie to customers and present falsified advertisement to trick the customers into buying their scheme. Also, the two women created this culture of doing immoral things, and that's why they're on the top of the lawsuit, because they're the masterminds behind it all. And the ones who are implemented in their ideas and beliefs among the rest of the company, meaning everyone that worked below these two people were somewhat forced to follow their beliefs and follow the scheme that they implemented, which is not only ethically and immorally wrong, it was also illegal. So that's why the whole company as a whole is under lawsuit and can be detrimental to everyone's career because of their selfish and dirty scheme. And also, their beliefs had to be followed by the rest of the company. So now for our core values in this case, which include, of course, virtues and vices. The virtues are little in this story just due to the fact that it is so negative. But I guess if you wanted to back up the Orbital Publishing Group, you could say their virtues were they did acknowledge they were selling the subscriptions, but that would be their only virtue. They did not let you know that they were using falsified information, falsified advertisement, and high and inflated prices. So that's where the vices come in. We'll talk about that in a minute, but they do have some virtue just in the fact that they did admit of selling the subscriptions. Also, the Orbital Publishing Group had very little virtues because the fact they were all wrong. Another virtue in this case would be that the publications felt bad for their company. And when we say publications, we're not talking about the Orbital Publishing Group, we're talking about New York Times and Wall Street Journal. They felt bad for the victims and the customers that buy their subscriptions, so as a result of that, they paid back $2.6 million to their customers. And that right there is a big virtue because that shows they do care about their customers and wanted to fix it. Also, the vices in this story, well, pretty much the whole story includes a lot of vices because the Orbital Publishing Group and specifically Laura and Lydia were very wrong. But implementing the scheme across the whole company was one vice because they forced everyone below them to follow their idea, which was not only wrong but illegal. And to take customers' money for subscriptions is just outrageous, and is also a big vice because people are wanting to pay for something and not receiving it. If they are, they're receiving it for extremely high prices, and that was just morally wrong.
Hi, now I'm going to present the arguments and counter-arguments of this issue. The arguments in favor is that this company, Orbital Publishing Group, and other 8 companies are sending millions of mails to different people around the country and asking them to renewing or to subscribing to this newspaper. The thing here is that they are making without the publishing's knowledge. And they also are selling those subscriptions or renewals in an inflated price of 40%. I want to make a quote of what they said in the article is that it is illegal under the New York's law to trade on the name of reputable publications, and they use as deceptive advertising to trick customers into overpaying for goods and services. On the other hand, there are other counter-arguments that make us think is that Oregon Orbital Publishing Groups, they are not violating any law. They are doing the right thing because they are still paying to the publisher. They subscribe the people, and the difference, they keep it as a profit because of their service. The companies will fulfill the subscriptions through the publication's website and pocket the difference according to the Swiss. But what if the publishers contract those companies to raise their profit? I want to let you to think that and make your own conclusions. So in our conclusion, I want you to think about what if Laura Lorraine and Lydia Pumphrey acting the name of the entire company without their knowledge. It is fair to punish all of them for their actions. Also, what if the public those companies to raise their profit? What's good, what's bad? We don't know what really happens. But we have 2 choices: trusting what we read, or decide to investigate more in deep what really happens. I'll let you to think about it and then make your own conclusions.